How flexible are the Seattle Seahawks with their future cap space? All right, everybody. Good morning. Happy Saturday. Hope you guys are doing well today. And if you're wondering where the training camp recap video is from yesterday, I uploaded it last night. So go back to the previous video on this channel if you haven't seen that video yet. I'm trying to do things a little bit differently where I upload training camp recap videos the day of, which obviously is going to throw some people off a little bit. So if you didn't see that video because it was uploaded too late, maybe you were already in bed, whatever, go look for it now. And it should basically give the same information just earlier. And we'll see if it ends up working out better or not, that video is why this video is going up a little bit later. But that video is available for your viewing at any time. The video never goes away, so I figure posting it earlier can't be worse, especially if the information conveyed is not really changed, and I don't think that it was. So in this video, because we don't have a new training camp session to cover yet, we're going to talk a little bit about salary cap stuff. And football's about to start, and once the actual football starts, this kind of stuff, it's going to be a little bit harder to think about. So I want to go ahead and talk about this now, because I do think it is something worthy of thought and worthy of discussion, because this offseason, the Seahawks changed their trajectory pretty significantly in this regard. When people ask about the Seattle Seahawks cap space at the moment, for the most part, they're talking about what about this year, 2025, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. This video is mostly going to be focused on what is the salary cap going beyond this year. Please like this video if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new. Click the bell for notifications. Become a channel member for $2 a month. Those are the best ways to support this channel. And if you want to understand the 2025 cap space, I've talked about it before, but basically there are a few things going on here. On the positive side, if you take a look at the 2025 cap table for the Seahawks, they've done a pretty good job not having any monster cap hits for the 2025 season. They have 3 cap hits above $10 million. They have 1 above 15, and it's barely above 15. It's a pretty well-balanced set of books, and they have a good amount of cap space. According to Spotrac, which is not 100% accurate, but it's going to be close, it's over $35 million in cap space. For anyone keeping track at home, that is more than enough to do anything we want to do. And extensions are not really going to suck very much cap space out of this year, because extensions are just that. They're extensions on deals that already exist. So you probably wouldn't see much movement from even a giant Charles Cross extension or a giant Reek Woolen extension. This cap space would not be drastically modified by any of that. So if you want to trade for X, Y, and Z, the cap space is there. The downside is there's a lot of unused cap, it's used, but it's not used on a player currently on the team, dead cap with the Seahawks right now. We are 4th in the league in dead cap, about $72 million. That is $72 million that is being spent on players that are not playing for the Seahawks in 2025. And this is the number that's easy to get hung up on. Like, how can you not? It's clearly a very big number. It's a very big chunk of the salary cap for 2025. And it's clearly going to be part of the reason why we lose some of the games we lose. We're going to lose a couple games this year where we as fans are going to look at it and go, if we didn't have all this dead cap, we could have afforded this, that, and the other thing, and maybe we win that game instead. So it's hard to not look at this and feel a little bit uncomfortable with the way this team has been managed at a fiscal level, I think, even though the other things going on here are pretty good. But what I really want to talk about in this video is the 2026 salary cap stuff. What is the long term? Because until the most recent offseason, the Seahawks had one of the best salary cap situations for 2026 and beyond in the entire NFL. They had very little money committed to 2026 and beyond. That's not the case anymore. They decided to commit a good chunk of their 2026 cap space in the most recent offseason, and they did it by giving out a lot of 3-year deals. They gave out quite a few significant 3-year deals, and because they're 3-year deals, they're not so easily gotten out of. Now, let's review the situation right now. As of this moment, the Seahawks have a good amount of cap space for 2026. They have just under 60 million. Call it 59 and a quarter, 10th most in the league, but it's not as much as it used to be, and it's not an overwhelming amount. Like, this is going to shrink up real quick if you start extending some of our players, which some of them will get extended. So this is going to go away pretty fast once the extensions hit. So you can see that we've kind of made our bed. We've kind of made our bed with this roster. And I'll get into what I mean by that in a second here, but understand that also, as of right now, like most teams, very few teams would have dead cap on the books already for next season, but we have basically no dead cap space for 2026 right now, and we shouldn't. So that's good. That's great. And here's the thing. How long is it going to stay like this? Obviously, it's not going to be like this. It's pretty much impossible for a team to have less than $200,000 of dead cap in a season. It would be very odd if that happened. But here's the thing. The Seahawks could have, and I'm not saying they should have, because I understand that the NFL, you lose your job if you start thinking like this. It's very easy to get fired when you start thinking about things like this, but you could have looked at a season like this where you have $72 million in dead cap space and gone, this is clearly not going to be our year. Let's just get this over with. Let's just push all this bad contract money out and regroup for 2026. Let's just not give out any long-term deals. Let's give out 1-year and 2-year deals. And if 2025 is a bad season, then so be it. I'm not saying tank, but what I am saying is accept the reality of the situation. Field the team that you can field without long-term money. Try your butt off to win every game you can. If the season doesn't go well, oh well. Like, you theoretically could have done that. Maybe John Schneider specifically can't do that because he feels like if he does that, he's going to lose his job. Maybe a GM like a Howie Roseman could do it because he's kind of invincible right now. Maybe Schneider can't, but theoretically, you can do things like that. We didn't decide to do that. And the thing is, this dead cap situation has kind of been ongoing for the Seahawks for a while now. Every year, it feels like we're dealing with pretty significant dead money. Some years more than others. Like, this year's obviously an extreme, but last year it was Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs, their dead money. The couple years before that, it was the Russell Wilson and a little bit of Bobby Wagner dead money. We've been eating dead money year after year, and rather than just kind of take our lumps and try to set ourselves up for 2 years down the line, we always seem to just keep pushing it out. And with the roster they've assembled for 2025, they have kind of sort of done that again. Let's add it up here. And this is what I mean when I say this roster needs to work. A lot of these players need to prove they're worthy of not only helping the team win in 2025, but can help the team win in 2026 and possibly beyond. Because moving off of them is not going to be fun. Like, right off the bat, Sam Darnold. Next year, 2026, cap hit goes up to about $34 million. If Sam Darnold is bad and you have to move off of him, like he just plays so bad, you just feel like you need to cut bait, the dead cap hit on a Darnold release is $25.6 million. Now, he would have 2 years left on his deal. You could split it, post-June 1st it, but that comes with its own problems, and it's not like you're not paying the dead money, you're just delaying it. That's 25.6. Now, Leonard Williams, I'm not too worried about, but that's a lot of money as well. I think he'll get extended. I imagine that Big Cat will get extended because of how good he is. But we'll see. I guess we'll see. It's a big dead cap hit if you don't, if you decide to move off of him. And it's a big cap hit if you just keep him on the last year of his deal. So that's a little bit complicated, but we'll untangle that later. Right now, he's playing so good, I don't think you need to worry too much about this one. Uchenna Nwosu, now this one seems foregone. He's got a $20 million cap hit next year, 8.5 dead. I think that's kind of a slam dunk. I don't think he's going to be here. I can't imagine he'll be here next year. He'd have to play an incredible season and be healthy consistently to even be considered as a 2026 Seahawk. So that's 8.5 million dead right there that you can pretty much pencil in. Charles Cross not going anywhere, but Cooper Kupp, this isn't a guy, one of the guys that I'm talking about. You gave him a 3-year deal. 17.5 million cap hit next year. That's significant. 8 million dead if you let him go. If he doesn't have a great season and he gets hurt once or more times, that's a decision that could go one way or the other. It could easily be a one-and-done situation for Kupp. Julian Love, I think he's probably safe, but DeMarcus Lawrence, it depends on what he does. Now, it's not crippling to get out from underneath this. It's 11.3, 11.3 million, 4.7 million dead if you let him go. That's reasonable, but you see how this is adding up. Ernest Jones, not too worried about this one. He's only going to be due 10.1 cap hit in 2026. I imagine he's relatively safe. He would have to have a disastrous season. Dead money is not terrible on him either way, so even if he does do that, it's not the worst. It's 4 2/3, but obviously at 10.1, it's much preferable if he just plays well and earns the money. Witherspoon going nowhere. Jaron Reed, though, I mean, 7.5 million cap hit. That's pretty big for a 34-year-old, maybe nose tackle. We're hoping he's a nose tackle. 3 million dead. I'm not saying pencil that one in, but definitely take note of it. And it's not crippling, but again, I want to stress, look at it add up. Jason Myers. I think Myers will probably get extended, but there is some room for him to maybe get released if he has a bad year. He has 35. That's another almost 2 million. And then you mostly have rookie contract guys. There's like Drew Lock here, but that's only 500,000 anyway. The rookie salary guys, for the most part, it's not enough money to even really worry about it either way, but they're mostly going to be safe. The ones that aren't safe are mostly the ones who are making so little money, it's not going to impact anything. But like, let's do the math here. Let's do the hypothetical math. Sam Darnold, 25.6. Nwosu, 88.5. So between those two players, and again, I don't know what Darnold's going to do. I hope Darnold can last at least the 2 years, because I think that's pretty clearly the plan for him to last at least 2 years. I'm very confident that Nwosu will not be here next year, though, because there have been too many problems, and he's starting to get old, and we need to find other ways to go about things. But you add these two hypothetical dead cap hits up, you're talking about 34 million. Cooper Kupp, that gets you to 42 million. 42 million. DeMarcus Lawrence gets you to just shy of 47. Jaron Reed gets you to just shy of 50. And then you pull Drew Lock in here, and that's $50 million dead. That's $50 million dead if this core of older players that you brought in, mostly on 3-year deals, doesn't work out. That's not as bad as we have it right now, but it's pretty bad. And this is the risk you take when you don't decide to take a step back in 2025. Again, you could have done that. I'm not saying they should have. I'm not saying that it was a realistic thing they could have done, because these are human beings who want to keep their job. But on some theoretical level, they could have just gone, you know what? We shouldn't be chasing this right now. We got to eat the Geno dead money. We got to eat the DK dead money. We have other dead money as well, although that's most of it, honestly. Like, you can actually go down to the bottom of the list here. Draymond Jones, Tyler Lockett, Noah Fant, Rayshawn Jenkins. It's a lot of dead money, and you could look at that and go, hey, what do you want us to do? I think that's what Bill Belichick would do. Bill Belichick in his heyday, if he had a season where he had 72 million dead and had just moved off his quarterback, probably would have decided, you know what, this is not our year. But we're not necessarily in that position. I get it. Why I made this video is just to say that this is not a free roll. This is not a free roll for the Seahawks and John Schneider. This needs to work at least somewhat. Like, we can get away with a couple things not going our way. Like I already said, I'm sure Nwosu's gone next year. That I'm already mentally marking that off in my head. I think there's a very good chance that Jarran Reed is gone. That's 11.5 million dead right there. But we need the Darnold thing to work out at least enough to justify keeping him around next year and feeling at least decently about it, right? We can't do it because we're forcing ourselves to do it financially. It needs to be a thing where we look at Darnold and go, we can win with this guy. Same with, Cooper Kupp. 8 million dead on the Cooper Kupp signing. That would hurt. That would hurt. Even a DeMarcus Lawrence, which this isn't terrible, right? It's 4 2/3. We still need these things to hit. We still need these things to work out, or we're going to have another year next year with a big chunk of the cap, like close to 20%, because there's going to be other stuff that happens too that increases your dead cap that I didn't even mention in this video. And what we need to avoid is another year where we have some stuff tied behind our back because we don't have access to all of our money. One of these years, we need to have that year where we don't have to deal with that crap. And you could force it, which some teams are willing to do. This team showed they aren't willing to do it, and that's fine. All that means is that the older veterans that you signed on these non-trivial 3-year deals, Sam Darnold, Cooper Kupp, DeMarcus Lawrence, Jarran Reed, to a lesser extent, Ernest Jones, got to work. All right. Maybe another video later today. I'm not sure. I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Everyone have a great day. Just wanted to talk about that for a little bit. Wanted to expound on why this is a very important season for this brain trust. They need to have gotten this right. At least mostly right. You're not going to get everything right, but you got to get a lot of this stuff right, or 2026 is not the magic year where you can just wave a wand and everything goes away and you're restarting around Jalen Milroe and Byron Murphy and Gray Zabel. There's some stuff here that needs to be taken into account. All right, go Hawks.